Hello and welcome. Thanks for joining us today for this webinar that's all about taking the mystery out of digital marketing for accountants and frankly for any small business, but specifically we're talking to accounting firms and business advisory firms. Now, digital marketing for many, and I know I speak for 98% of the small business community out there, it really is this black box of mystery. And there are various reasons for that. And today we're going to look at the three elements that you need to take that mystery out. Now, if you're new to our webinars and new to Paradox, I'm MC Carter, founder of Practice Paradox, and we're the global pioneer in digital marketing for accountants and advisors, having founded and run our first masterclass workshop back in 2010, when much of this was incredibly new, but it does continue to change virtually every month. The whole digital space, particularly digital marketing, is an ever-changing landscape that we stay on top of because we are inch wide and mile deep in our focus of not just digital marketing, but digital marketing as it applies to accounting and advisory firms. Now, to give you an idea of the pedigree of the information that I'll be sharing with you today, here are just some of the firms that we've helped in recent years, and I'll just share a quick little example of what we help them with. Now, Consolidate, Tanya Titman, who you can see next to her husband Jason on the right-hand side of that image there, they came to us when they realized that despite their best intentions to do their digital marketing to best practice levels, despite investing dollars in SEO and websites and a whole lot of digital marketing activity, they noticed when they were at a XeroCon at the awards dinner one evening a couple of years ago, they went, and they joined the dots. They saw a bit of banter happening in Twitter, and they worked out that the last few winners of the Xero Partner of the Year for accounting firms in Australia were all Paradox members. So they saw that common thread, if you like. And Tanya called me on the Monday morning, straight after the function that was on the Friday night at XeroCon South in Brisbane. And she said, MC, I've joined the dots. I've worked out that Paradox are a common element with these firms that seem to be doing their marketing so well. And I just don't get it. We invest a lot in marketing and it's just not getting the ROI that for the money, time, energy that we put into it. So she was incredibly frustrated. And we stepped Tanya through our marketing gap analysis process, which, by the way, is a complimentary process that we take firms through when they're thinking about working with us. That allows us to evaluate if there's a fit with what they're looking for. And it turned out that Consolidate was missing a couple of incredibly important pieces in the puzzle, in the overall marketing machine. And that's a model that I will share with you today. And by the way, apart from wanting to get their marketing working, she said, and she's pretty competitive, Tanya, she said, and I want to win this Xero Partner of the Year next year, which she did. Tick, but you can't bank awards. But obviously the awards were a symptom of the fact that they hit a growth path. And, you know, with the machine, it only takes one element to be missing or not working in a machine for the entire machine to not work. So that's how we helped Consolidate. So they were already a prosperous firm when they came to us, but we took them to the next level. Now, another firm that you may have heard of is GrowthWise. Steph Hines has a very high profile now in the accounting profession, globally, particularly in Australia and in Xero circles. But you know, when you look at a successful firm, you can think, oh yeah, it's easy for them. They're a successful firm. Well, they weren't when they came to us. Steph, when she came to us, was a fledgling firm with 2 part-time staff members. And Steph doesn't mind me sharing that she told us when we first started speaking that, yeah, you know, I've taken on office premises. It's a real stretch to pay the rent, but I've got ambitious plans. And at the moment, I'm going around to my friends' places having dinner and doing the tax returns for people after dinner to generate fees. Now, that's where they came from. They are now an 11-person firm with revenue that a 3-partner firm would be very, very pleased with when you look at the benchmarking data. And they have virtually no non-chargeable staff because they're just incredibly switched on with technology. They already were when they came to us, but we showed them how to use marketing strategy and technology to make your marketing work. When Steph's firm has doubled its revenue 5 years running. They were Xero Partner of the Year a year after starting working with us. And when she turned 5, she listed out a list of thank yous in a newsletter that went out to everyone on her list. And it was beautiful and, very gratifying. You know what it's like when you help people succeed, which is what you do in your own line of work. She listed me and Paradox as number 1 on that list. So think about that. She's now a sole practitioner with a firm with revenue equivalent to a 3-partner firm, and she gets inbound leads that just come to her. The days of outbound marketing are gone. If you're out doing networking and pounding the pavement, knocking on doors, reaching out to people in LinkedIn, frankly, you just don't understand marketing, because you can get leads come to you. Steph gets over 24 leads a month that come to her through her digital marketing. Another firm that we've helped from startup, in fact pre-startup, is Xero Books. That's Xero with a Z, and they're the bookkeeping spin-off of Xero Partner of the Year from about 4 years ago. Again, now our Pool Group, and we work with Pool Group as well now. And Xero Books now are more than a double platinum Xero partner. That's a lot of Xero files, and we've helped them with their strategy, their blogging, their social media, their sales process, and they've got a brilliant scalable and growing business. In fact, I interviewed Greg Tuckwell, the primary founder and driver of Xero Books last year. And last year, Greg had a battle with cancer, and he's managing it now, if that's the right word, on top of it. And he shared that in the 8-month period where he was out of his business a lot, getting treatment, that his business actually grew in both revenue and profitability, again, because inbound leads, marketing machine, scalable model. Other firms that we've worked with, regional firms from New Zealand, WK, Accountants and Advisors, and Neil Sinclair shared with me that just one of the models that we taught about how to market and how to sell and how to deliver business advisory around that value add, non-compliance advisory has made a huge difference to their ability to actually do business advisory with a large percentage of their clients. Because it's one thing to have the ability to do business advisory with your clients. Many people can do the work, not many firms can get the work. And if that wasn't the case, we wouldn't have a situation where approximately 1 out of every 10 accounting firms surveyed in benchmarking studies are actually doing more than 20% of their revenue in business advisory. Even though 9 out of 10 state they want to do more business advisory, only 1 in 10 is achieving that. And I tell you right now, the reason the 1 in 10 is doing it is they've learned how to communicate value, which, by the way, is marketing and selling. Marketing is the communication of value one to many, and sales process is the communication of value just one to one, or one to a couple of people at a time. And that's precisely what we help accounting firms do in a way that works for accounting firms, because not everything out there in marketing is applicable. Because for starters, you're business to business, or B2B as they call it, marketing. You're not B2C. So a large part of what you might research and see online with marketing just does not apply to you. But even within B2B, not all of it is appropriate for professional services firms. And we're essentially the lens and the filter on what is the very latest in digital marketing globally. Just 3 months ago now, I came back from San Diego, went to one of the leading digital marketing conferences each year over there. And again, interpreting, okay, we can use that, can't use that, can use that. And then this is what we help firms implement. One last example here, Rapsy Griffiths, they're actually an insolvency firm, and they came to us when they were just starting up because they saw a few firms out there who were marketing themselves well and said, who's helping you with your marketing? And the answer each time was Paradox. They came to us, and both Mitch and Chad, Mitch Griffiths and Chad Rapsy, they said that working with Paradox was the best money they spent as a startup. And they've gone on and they've exceeded all of their initial business plan targets for revenue growth. So again, we help them with their strategy, their blogging, SEO, social media, the whole lot. And today we'll give you some insights into more examples. Now, the first principle I want to teach you today, and look, inherently we know this, but to know and not to do is not to know, as the Chinese proverb goes. And this applies in every area of life where people think, oh yes, this new superfood will fix my diet, or this new piece of exercise equipment will get me fit. And this is silver bullet thinking. And silver bullet thinking is very prevalent in marketing where small businesses, accounting firms think, yes, if I just get that new website, that'll fix everything. Those leads will start flowing in. And then they don't. Or you think, yes, if we just get good at this new fandangled social media thing, that'll fix our marketing. And you get active in it, and then it doesn't change anything. Or you think, okay, all of these people that keep canvassing me and approaching me with those dear sir/madam emails that you get almost daily offering to fix your SEO, that won't fix your marketing either. No one thing can fix your marketing. And is that good or bad news? Well, it's both. It's certainly good news because it will protect you from hitching your wagon to a particular vendor that says, all you need is what I'm selling, this website platform, this social media service, and it'll fix things. And you'll actually insulate and protect yourself from wasting money and having unfounded high hopes around any one element fixing things. But today I'm going to share with you the structure where you can see, okay, I now get where the website fits into our marketing machine. I now get that the purpose of a website is not what I thought it was, and what needs to happen before it and what happens after it. So today we'll give you context on your digital marketing, but you need to, all of us, we need to let go of silver bullet thinking and take a more holistic view, if you like, of marketing. Now, there are three essentials for effective marketing. They're kind of like three pillars, and you need all three of them. Now, the first is marketing structure that I'll share with you today with the Marketing Machine 2.0 model. And later on today, I'll also be showing you how you can download a poster that explains it, has it all out there, and you can use it. I'll explain that later. So marketing structure is number one. Sometimes people are surprised to see that my number two, which is marketing strategy, is not number one. And thirdly, you need marketing support. You need help to get things done. But if you just go and pay for someone to do your social media or pay for someone to do your SEO or your blogging, and you're lacking the structure and you're lacking the strategy, you will waste your money. So with marketing structure, without understanding, okay, here's how things flow from strategy to presence to publish, to attract, convert, and so on, you won't have any predictability. Marketing will remain to be that mystery where there doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason, any sort of cause and effect. And once you get that right, you can then move on to the marketing strategy side of things. Now, if you lack marketing strategy and you're really busy with your marketing and you've even got certain processes in place, and this, by the way, is where Consolidate was. They had marketing structure and marketing support they were paying for, but they were missing two of the 7 big rocks of strategy, which was meaning they weren't getting the ROI. So without strategy, there's no point to your marketing. And lastly, if you've just got the structure, you understand that framework, and you've got a clear strategy, but you don't have marketing support to make sure that each month, each week, certain things are happening, are being done, are being shipped, if you like, out the door, being published, your marketing is most likely to lack consistency. And consistency in all areas of life, and in this case, digital marketing, really, really matters. None of us will succeed by what we do every once in a while. We succeed by what we routinely do. We are the sum result of our habits in every area of life and business. So when you put all three of marketing structure, and that takes education, by the way, no one can just hand you the structure. You need to understand certain frameworks. You have a solid strategy in place with the 7 big rocks of strategy, and you have the support. You then have effective marketing. Now, by the way, feel free to ask any questions you like today as we go. Don't do it via chat. Do it via the Q&A, the question and answer button in the top left, and I'll come to any questions later. So they are your 3 essentials, or your 3 pillars for effective marketing. Now, the Marketing Machine 2.0 is our model that is the structure. Here is how marketing works, all marketing, by the way, but particularly digital marketing for an accounting and advisory firm. If you're thinking, what's the deal with the 2.0 bit? Yes, we've evolved this over time. When we first started, we didn't separate out some of the elements such as attract and convert into separate elements. And we didn't have in digital presence as its own explicit piece. And we've added it because now we've worked with hundreds of accounting firms in 8 different countries. And you learn, just like you learn when you're advising businesses. And this is the latest version, and no doubt it will continue to evolve over time. Now, before I explain this piece by piece, I'm going to just set it in context for you. There's a saying in academia, and it applies 100% to content-driven modern digital marketing, and that's publish or perish. Now, in academia, that's the professors are saying, okay, we need to keep publishing papers and get them into peer-reviewed journals, and then we grow our profile and our career will evolve and improve. Likewise, in marketing, like it or not, you pretty much are who Google says you are. If someone hears about your firm this morning from a friend or colleague, someone they meet, what are they going to do? They are going to Google it. And what they discover will be their first impressions of you. So if you're not publishing online, and that's website, social video, other ways that we'll talk about in a moment, you're pretty much running an undercover operation. Or if you are publishing and you're doing it infrequently and sporadically and in a very amateur way, you're not making the good first impressions either. So you need to be consistently publishing strategic, good quality content that attracts to you the people that you want to do business with. So the types of content, yes, your website content, but not just your homepage and your About Us and your services page, the articles that will appear on your blog, and also ebooks and other downloadables. Lead magnets is the marketing lingo for things that when people come to your website, they can go, I'd like to read that, and they download it. We've all done it. And then email newsletters. So to make sure you stay in touch with those who've given you permission to communicate with them via email. And we all understand those things. We're all consumers of those. But the point here is how often and how well is your business publishing each of these things? Do you have the structure, strategy, and support in place to make them happen like clockwork? Other forms of content, social media, videos, live video is very hot at the moment. So that's where you can do the Facebook Live incredibly simply, straight out through your smartphone into Facebook in that example, but you can also do it into other platforms. It actually started with a platform called Periscope that Twitter acquired, but then Facebook are kind of like the modern day Microsoft. They're fast second movers in that they see something cool on another platform and then essentially copy it and then do it on a larger scale. So live videos, incredibly valuable at the moment. One of our members are Equus partners who are focusing on cafes and restaurants. They have a brilliant daily live stream that they do from different cafes and restaurants around Melbourne and around Australia called Daily Espresso. And that's built their profile really well and has led to speaking opportunities at the conferences within those industries. And they really are an authority now in how to successfully run those style of businesses. Webinars, we're in one now. Seminars, let's not forget about traditional marketing, face-to-face. If you're going to develop content for webinar, you may as well also do workshops and seminars with people. They're just an example of different types of content that we can do. But if you take this mindset that marketing needs to be less about promotion and more about education, everything gets simpler because you can think, who do I need to educate? That's number one, is who. What do I need to teach them so that they understand why they need these advisory services? And that's the goal of your marketing, is to educate, because marketing gets overcomplicated by a lot of people, particularly if you've ever studied it at university. They love all of their academic mumbo jumbo. If you simplify it down to, I'm teaching people things so they can understand what we can help them implement, it gets much easier from there. So the goal of the education is to create what in psychology they call cognitive dissonance. And this is crucial. Unless your education is creating cognitive dissonance, your marketing will not be working for you and creating an ROI. I'll just explain visually what cognitive dissonance is. So before someone, let's say before someone reads one of your articles or watches a video or comes to one of your events, they have certain thoughts and beliefs and attitudes before being educated about something. So pick a topic. It might be something around, managing their business better in terms of technology or cash flow or understanding how to structure their business. And then they have new thoughts, beliefs, and attitudes after being educated to the contrary on that. Okay, simple concept. And what that does, those newfound thoughts and beliefs create a discomfort. And this is ethical influence, where they have a realization of where they are now, but after you've educated them, they have a realization of where they could be. So if it's around, for example, the importance of rolling forecasts, projected P&Ls, budgets, or cash flow forecasting, they go, wow, those 5 things in that article that said, businesses that tend to fail, how they manage their cash flow, we're doing 4 of the 5. And that's the cognitive dissonance. That's that discomfort that they think, something got to change. Because, like it or not, non-compliance services, by their very nature and by their name, non-compliance, no one has to do them. They don't have to comply with any law to do them. So they have to be marketed and they have to be sold. And that's one of the first steps to succeeding with your marketing, is to understand that, okay, it's our job to educate, and through the education, market and sell our advisory services. Otherwise, you will stay with the 9 out of 10 firms that aren't doing very much advisory or just doing what falls in their lap. So until someone sees that gap between where they are now and where they could be, your services are the footbridges to bridge that gap. And if they don't see the gap, there's no demand for footbridges. Simple idea. So that's the job of your marketing, in an ethical way, to create those. And as I said earlier, it doesn't take anything more than one cog, or in this graphical example, it only takes one link in a chain for the entire chain to be broken. And that's why you need that structure and the understanding across the Marketing Machine 2.0 model that I'll step you through now. Okay, so number 1 is strategy. In our marketing gap analysis process, on this, a bit of a spoiler alert here, but there's a question: describe your business's strategy in a sentence or 2. And most of the time, and I'm not talking like 60% of the time, I'm talking more than 9 out of 10 times, what gets entered and answered on that question, what is your business's strategy? It's usually a statement of objectives or intent. And that might be like your mission of what you want to achieve. But your strategy is how you're going to achieve it. And a lot of it is around focus and making decisions. And we're not prescriptive in strategy. There's coaches and consultants out there that are very cookie cutter, very templated. That helps them sell to unsophisticated audience, which the majority of the market is, where they say, all businesses should look like this. Here's the perfect firm. Do these 7 things and you're perfect. Well, even the word perfect makes no sense, because perfect is a static state. But anyway, rather than be prescriptive, what we've got are frameworks, these 7 big rocks of strategy that allow you to make your own decisions to effectively design your own business. But there are principles, immutable principles, that unless you make decisions in these areas and come to clarity, you will flounder. You'll just grow at what I call default rate, where sure, if you do a good job, you'll get referrals. If you're not getting referrals, there's something wrong right there. But if you're growing solely by referrals, it's an indication that you're not marketing yourself very well, and you're not necessarily controlling the style and quality of prospective clients coming to you. So it's not to throw referrals out, but you need another layer of inbound leads coming to you. So everything starts with strategy. And by the way, not just your marketing, your strategy affects everything: your processes, your choice in technology, even the type of people that you recruit onto your team. Now, next, presence, your digital presence, sometimes called your digital footprint. And we added this to the Marketing Machine 2.0 model because most firms, when they were coming to us, had missing pieces of their digital presence. Sure, they may have had a website, but they may have had incomplete social media profiles. That's very, very common. Or they haven't completed their Google My Business profile. Or if they have completed it, they haven't looked at it for a while and it hasn't been completed in terms of the words used, etc., in light of and flowing from the strategy there. Or let's say another example, reviews, online reviews through things like Google reviews, Facebook, are now important for every type of business. It used to be that reviews were mainly relevant to, hospitality, cafes, restaurants, hotels, that sort of thing. Now, one example is in Google search results. When you search for something and there's the map at the top, they call it places, Google Places. So there's a map with a few markers on it and there's 3 or 4 search results under there. Your business wants to be in there, correct? So you won't appear there ever unless you have a certain number of Google reviews. And, we see that on a daily basis where firms that have a lot of things in place but haven't thought through, never thought to get reviews. And there's a strategy and a process to make it easy for your good clients to do some Google reviews for you. And bam, you can go from not being in places to being listed there, which makes a huge difference. So digital presence is almost like housekeeping, if you like. It's really fundamental, basic stuff. And in our Modern Marketing Implementer platform, we've got very discrete tasks. We call them pieces of content that explain why and how, and often have links through to the steps that you need to take. And all you need to do in our Implementer platform, it's almost like a wizard. In the old days when you used to have disks to install software, we go next, 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 next along the wizard, and that eliminates the where do I start or what do I do next? Because if you jump ahead and do other elements of your marketing, like, I went to a conference and there was this person there about social media, and now we're doing our social media, and you're missing parts of your digital presence and you haven't thought through your strategy, it's a waste of time. So let's assume you've got a solid strategy with the 7 rocks in place, and you've got your digital presence done strategically and completely. Then you can start to publish. So this element here is not the end, it is a means to an end. A lot of people get hung up on, oh yes, we're doing all these social media posts and we're doing the blogging. Yes, but why? Why are you doing it? Now, earlier I talked about all different examples of publishing, so we all get that it's about educating and engaging with the audience. But the purpose of it, and here's another spoiler alert, in our marketing gap analysis questionnaire, we ask you, what is the objective of your website? And the usual answers are things like to get our name out there, to make a professional first impression, to generate leads and various other things. And they're all valid, they're not incorrect. But to us, the purpose of your website is to attract targeted traffic, number 1, and to convert that traffic, number 2. And that's it. And I'll now explain what that means. So think through what is the number 1 phrase. And when I say phrase, it's not accountant Melbourne or accountant Brisbane, but a phrase that has 3, 4, 5 words in it. It's called a long tail phrase that you are gunning for and you want to be number 1 in Google for. And clearly you don't have to limit yourself to 1, but when you're clear on your strategy, you have 1 primary phrase. And in our Implementer platform, by the way, you can enter up to 30 phrases where each week we show you your improving ranking from one week to the next. And you can actually see how you compare to 3 of your competitors who, when you start, may well be outranking you in those areas. But attract targeted traffic means people who come to your website because they're searching on specific things. They're searching on answers or services, and they come to your website. So you don't just want more traffic to your website, you want targeted traffic, which comes back to your strategy. When firms come to us and we run a website audit report, we see that their traffic usually per month in visitors is measured in the hundreds, might be 100, 150, 200. If your website isn't getting thousands of visitors a month, it's unlikely, whether you paid 500, 5,000, 15,000 for it, it's unlikely that it's actually helping your business in any significant way. So clearly at the top of the process, it is a little bit of a numbers game. So when you get really clear on the phrases that you're targeting, and by the way, apart from it being based on your strategy, in our onboarding process with new members and with our SEO implementation service, there's a skill set within digital marketing called keyword research. It's a subset of search engine optimization, or SEO, and it's half intuition. What would our target market buyer personas be searching on based on what are their pain points, what are their aspirations? So partly intuition, but then data. It's actually a lot of data available where you can see what people are searching on. And sometimes, more than sometimes, often, the words that you think people are searching on, there are other words that are related, might mean virtually the same thing, that 3, 4, 5 times as many people are searching on. Classic example is cloud. You know, cloud accounting. It's a big buzzword, has been for years now in the accounting circles. And that phrase cloud, that's been popularized by certain vendors, you know, such as Xero and other cloud-based accounting. And I love the cloud, don't get me wrong. Our business is 100% cloud-based in every way technologically. But the average punter out there, the average small or medium-sized business owner, when they're searching for what you and we might generally call cloud-based accounting, they don't use the word cloud, they use the word online accounting software. That's just one of many, many different examples there. So what you want to be is top 3 on page 1 of Google. So we're not talking about the ads across the top or down the bottom. This is in addition to being Google Places. The top 3 free, or they call them organic. That word always makes me smile. Organic are search results where people are just finding you by searching. Now you want to be in the top 3. Now this isn't the first 3 pages, top 3 of page 1 of Google, because they get 80% of the clicks. So if you're, you know, down the bottom half of Google, you know, people used to say, oh, you know, page 2 of Google is a good place to hide a dead body because no one ever looks there. SEO joke. The bottom of page 1, you could change that joke to these days, because Google is so good at serving up relevant search results that usually in the top 3, people find what they're looking for and they click through. So that is part of the front end of your marketing machine, is to win that game of outranking your competitors for strategic keywords that get enough visits, enough searches, they call it volume, per month, that you can be in the top 3 for your target phrases. And the reports, there's in Implementer, one of the reports you have real-time access to, and you can also just get emailed to you each week on your keyword ranking, is color-coded. So outside top 100, you're in red, and then when you're inside the top 100 but not top 50, you're yellow, and then it goes green and ultimately blue. So top 3 is shown in blue. And out of those 30 phrases, over time, you'll see it transition from red to yellow to green to blue when you work with us. Now, why should you care? Is that's the difference between having 100 visitors a month to your website and having, like those firms that I showed you earlier, like Consolidate, having 3,000, 4,000 people coming to your website every month. It really, really matters. But if we stop there, you wouldn't be banking too much return on investment from your marketing. Because before I said the purpose of your website is twofold. Number 1, attract targeted traffic. Number 2, to convert website visitors. Convert them to what? Now, it's not what a lot of the cookie cutter website providers, which we don't recommend, by the way, have that complimentary consultation, book a time, free consult. Those calls to action generally get a very low conversion rate, meaning a very small percentage of people who come to your website will click that. Because think about it. If they've just discovered you through organic search because you've been targeting a phrase that relates to them wanting to solve something in their business or their financial life, they're not going to go, oh yeah, I'm happy to talk to you for half an hour or an hour. People will do their research. People don't change accountants and business advisors on a whim, do they? Often they'll think about it for months, maybe even longer. So the goal is to actually convert your website visitors to what's called conversion goals. And that's a term in search engine optimization in the world of Google. You can set up in your Google Analytics, which is, what do you want a website visitor to do? And that's a very specific thing. It might be, I want them to watch that video. I want them to take that diagnostic or quiz or register for our next briefing webinar or download this white paper that relates to their industry. And that's what conversion is about. So those top 5, strategy, presence, publish, attract, convert, each of those is a distinct, separate set of tasks that On the strategy end, you'll guide yourself. If you work with us, we'll guide you in making those decisions. We can accelerate those decisions when you come to things like our masterclass. Next one's coming up in July on the Sunshine Coast, but I'll give you a link to find out a little bit more about that later, and a preview webinar that's coming up. But with the rest of this, with publishing, attract, convert, you'll need the support element to help you make it happen. But the point of all that is to grow your marketing database. Now, your marketing database is basically people who are, sure, your database, by the way, yes, it includes your clients. It includes people who are centers of influence and current referrers and friends of your ventures. But the bulk of it over time will be people who are interested in what you do, because there's a process in marketing where people go from awareness, interest, desire, and action. So gradually over time, they'll get to know you more. So you want to grow your email database and you want to grow your social media reach and network. And that's the purpose of those first 5. And when you're marketing well, virtually every day of the week, your marketing database will grow. One of the firms that I didn't mention earlier that we've educated around these elements of structure, strategy, and support, Ben Walker from Inspire CA in Brisbane. He was a single partner firm, sole practitioner when he came to us, 2-partner firm now. He sent us a screenshot out of his marketing automation system, which is a combination between a CRM, your client database, and an email marketing tool. And a widget off the dashboard, little display, showed that his list in the last 30 days had grown by, I think the number was 90 or 91 contacts. So think about that. How would you like to have right now in your database 90 fresh people who've discovered you, where you made good first impressions on them? They read and engaged with what you've been publishing. They came to your website. They liked you enough that they said, yeah, liking this, keep it coming, keep communicating with me. That's gold, isn't it? That is a warm list. Now, are they leads yet? No, they're not leads, but they're on the start of what we call a conveyor belt of influence. So the conveyor belt of influence is a concept where psychologically it's been shown through a lot of different studies, mainly out of the States, but in other countries as well, that people will buy after about 7 interactions with a brand. So they don't discover you and buy. So if the psychology is people are going to have 7 little touches or interactions with you, that's the psychology. Why not use technology to guide them along? And that's why we call it a conveyor belt of influence, is they'll gradually take steps along that to become warm inbound leads. Now, if this is making sense for you, click the raise hand button, because if we're in a room together right now, I might do a raise hand. Now, continuing on, I'm looking over to see if anyone's clicking that. Now, the next part is automate. Marketing automation, which I mentioned briefly before with that Inspire example, is so exciting because marketing automation is technology that allows you to nurture, follow up prospective leads while you sleep. And that might sound like an exaggeration, but it's not. So marketing automation is where you have your CRM, so your client or contact relationship management database, which is not practice management, time and billing workflow. It's different to that. And your email marketing, where when someone opts in, and let's say they came to your website and they downloaded a white paper that related to a particular service or a particular problem in their business or a particular industry, you can then, using marketing automation, when they opt in, immediately send out let's say it's a PDF, out to them, and then follow up emails in a very helpful way over the coming days and weeks to just check in with them. So let's say, for example, 3 days later, marketing automation platforms such as Infusionsoft or ActiveCampaign, they're the 2 that we recommend to our members, and we point you in the right direction for local people that can help you implement them well. So a few days later, the person who downloaded the PDF might get an email from you, low-key, personal-looking email saying, "Hi, first name. Notice you downloaded our such and such report from our website the other day. Just checking in to make sure you downloaded that okay. I hope you found the information useful. If you have any questions, feel free to reply to this email and just let me know." Soft sell, you're just being helpful. And you will find a percentage of people go, actually, but maybe not. But that's another touch point along this conveyor belt. Then, let's say a week later, you can have another email. This is like programmatic marketing. Another email go out that says, Hi, first name, just checking in. It crossed my mind, we have this video where I've interviewed such and such about the topic of the paper you downloaded, thought it might be of interest. Click here to view that now, or whatever. Click the link, bam, and they go to, let's say, a blog post that has the video embedded, displayed in the article from your YouTube channel, and they see that. And so that's another touch point. So marketing automation is really, really powerful. Greg Tuckwell, who I mentioned earlier from Zero Books, Zero with a Z, I always have to say that, not Zero with the X. He described his business when I interviewed him last year as a machine where his website is the front end of that machine. And what he means by that is the data, when someone comes to your website and they fill in a web form to download something, they go straight into your CRM, your marketing automation system. And it actually will record in the system what pages did they visit, how many minutes did they view different pages, so let's say different articles on your blog, what they downloaded, and then tag them accordingly of, okay, they're from this industry, or their interest is this topic. So into the CRM, into the automatic customized email nurture, into your email broadcast system. Then they finally do click that contact us button on your website because they've been pre-educated and warmed up. That again, by the way, if your web forms on your website are just sending plain text emails in, you don't have what we're talking about here. And it's time to really step that up. Now, then when they inquire with you, they can click a link, book a time with you straight out of your calendar. Then when you do the scoping and pricing to do a proposal with them, you can use a tool like Practice Ignition, which is a very cool piece of tech, which many of you would be aware of if not using. And then you can do your proposal very efficiently. They can have it emailed to them live while you're in the meeting with them, click accept. Then it flows into Zero Practice Manager, the artist formerly known as Workflow Max, and then can flow through into invoicing and even data follow-up and dunning. That's amazing. I think you'll agree. Only 5-6 years ago, it would almost be unthinkable for the average small business to have that level of sophistication where data has gone, to recap, from website, CRM, email marketing, proposal tool, workflow deployment, and invoicing. And I didn't even mention payment processing there, actual, direct debits or credit card. Incredible. So if that technology is available, the front end of your marketing machine is the start of that. So we guide you on doing that. Now, imagine that. You've got a website that's growing by 1, 2, 3 new prospects every month. The next thing you don't do is spam the hell out of them. Because they've placed their trust in you. They've said, okay, I'm willing to, I've subscribed to your email newsletter, or I've opted in and accepted that you're going to communicate with me. So the goal then now is to nurture. So rather than relying on the trusted advisor status that accountants globally have, that mantle, and it's a cool, incredibly valuable, and something that everyone in the accounting profession should be very proud of, is, hey, we are society's trusted advisor when it comes to financial and business advice. Very cool, except for the fact that people don't buy from trusted advisors. People buy from those they know, like, and trust. You may have heard those 3 things before: know, like, and trust. And people can't feel like they know you if they hardly ever hear from you. So in Robert Cialdini's book, Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion, which is a must read for anyone in life and in business, one of the 6 principles of influence in there is liking. There's actually science as to why someone will like you or not. If they don't like you, they're not going to buy from you. And one of those sub-elements of liking is familiarity. And that word comes from the same root as family, which I find fascinating, because people feel close to you. So you need to communicate with them on a regular, helpful basis so that they end up feeling like they know you and they like you and they trust you. And the way you do that is just by putting relevant, timely, useful information that educates them. And for example, the way we support you with that is with email newsletter service, letting them know of recent blog posts, which we would have done for you and with you, that are on your site. And that way they think, okay, when something arrives in my inbox from you, from your business, they're thinking, I'm going to open that. That's likely to be useful and may even be challenging or inspiring, which is really, creating that cognitive dissonance. So if you stop there, you still haven't banked anything because they're not yet leads. At some point, you've got to ask them to dance. So you've got to invite people to either book or buy, is my little mantra there. Invite them to either book or buy, meaning book a time to actually meet with you, have a diagnostic session with you, which is the front end of a consultative sales process, or book to come to a webinar like you have now, or book to come to an event, boardroom briefing. And what you'll find is when your content marketing machine flows into events, you'll take people from being aware of you and interested. So awareness, interest, desire, and commitment or action. You'll actually energize them so that they'll move from just being aware and interested to having a real desire to work with you. Now, Ben Walker from Inspire, who I mentioned earlier, we've coached him on everything from how to do his blogging, how to use lead magnets to grow his list, how to do events, how to capitalize on events, how to do video and live events, and he's great at all of that now. He was an excellent student. And part of events is having a nice little easy next step after the event, a call to action. And I said to Ben, what call to action are you testing lately? He said, MC, we used to do that, but now people come into our events so warm to us that all we need to do is just educate, run through a concept of, they're really big on cash flow, helping free up cash flow for small businesses. So most of their themes are around that. He said, MC, I've usually got 5, 6 people just lined up waiting to talk to me afterwards. And they usually open up with, how do we become a client? And they're running 2 events a month, and they get 30, 40, 50 people at each event because they're following this process and they're really good at it. So then that's invite. Now, the next 2 elements that we believe is part of your marketing machine that we don't neglect, and we have huge expertise, can I say that, if I dare to say that myself, in sales process. So what happens when you actually get an inquiry? So, one thing that doesn't work is the traditional sales process. Someone calls up, says, oh, I'd like to speak to someone, I'm thinking about changing accountants. Oh yeah, sure, book a time and meet with them. Bum, bum. That has a lot of things wrong with it that I won't go into now. But even if you do land them as a client, the worst possible scenario is just taking them on board for bog standard compliance and thinking, I'll upsell them later. I'll use that needs review checklist and that little piece of software I've got that's going to quiz them about all this stuff, and then they're going to buy. They won't. What's better is to attract people in, well, a small percentage will, most won't. What's better is to have a sales process where from the get-go you're explaining your full service offering. That's why we're firms like Advise Accountants, that's Matt Sharwood out of Bathurst. He shared an update with me on his figures the other day, where his average client engagement used to be, when he got a new client on year 1, about $2,800. It's now over $10,000. And that's because people are from the get-go saying, I want that monthly management reporting and dashboards. I want to meet with you monthly or quarterly, whatever it is. He doesn't allow them to meet any less frequently than that, by the way, or he won't take them on. And basically they're becoming like a virtual CFO, a full service client straight from the start. And he says, MC, they're practically hugging me at the end of these. And they're saying things like, I've been looking for an accountant like you all my life. So sales process is one that it works, it's ethical, but it's efficient. It uses the latest technology, but it allows you to do the non-compliance value add services at the start. Because if you don't, the concrete will set. Over my shoulder there, where we go, break out of your box. And our little running box man with a box on his head. The metaphor there is that the accounting profession is boxed in. And there's a perception in the public, and you know this, and this is what you are fighting with, and why we help you with better communication value, is if for the first year you just do their compliance, quarterly annual compliance, that's the pigeonhole that you are in probably for the rest of your relationship with them, unless you reframe, re-educate, which is harder when you've got a blank canvas of a new prospect right at the start. So breaking out of that box of, yeah, my accountant just does my tax, is, I think, one of the biggest challenges for the accounting profession. And the missing skill there is the ability to communicate value, which is what we'll help you do. And lastly, across the bottom here, after the sales process is onboarding. Now, onboarding to us, and I'm loving seeing people like Carbon, that's Carbon with a K, good friends of ours, love their technology. They've been doing events, and in fact, they spoke at our last masterclass about this topic too, onboarding, where onboarding really, it should be seen as part of your marketing, because it's an opportunity for you to achieve some quick wins for the client, because you gathered a lot of information about their interests, their desires. You've had conversations with them through the sales process. So this is their first opportunity too, to see if you walk your talk. So if you could achieve some quick wins, give them a really good experience in those first 30, 60 days, you'll accelerate and amplify the number of referrals you'll get in that honeymoon period. You know what it's like when you've bought something, and switching accountants is buying something, and you're really excited about it. Doesn't matter what it is. Many people will tend to tell others about it. So if you strategically design your onboarding so that you can quickly deliver and achieve some quick wins with the client, that will dramatically improve the growth rate of your business. Don't do what I heard one member, a younger member of in a firm. So they're working with us, but this young member came to us privately, emailed us and said, we've got an issue. You know, the partners are doing the selling, but they are over-promising. They're promising service levels and turnaround times that there's no way in the world we are going to be able to deliver on. They just handball it over the wall to us and expect us to deliver. And then we wear the brunt when those clients churn. So clearly that's a lose-lose-lose situation. The partners lose, the team members lose and probably leave the firm, and the clients are not going to refer and may well leave at their next window of opportunity to do that. So at the end of this, you end up with a very specific client base, not a miscellaneous generic client base of whoever stumbled across your path and whoever your existing clients have happened to refer, but one that started with your strategy. Who are we going to attract? And you know, with Consolidate, they were able to identify 4, and they're now expanding it to 5 very specific target market buyer personas. And that phrase that I just said is one of the 7 rocks that you need to really clarify and nail for your marketing to not just work, but then to become very easy. It'll become like, you know, a hot knife cutting through butter when you've got a great strategy. So that's the marketing machine model. In a moment, I'll give you a web address that you can go to and download a high-res version of this wall poster. The PDF is actually an A2 size, so that's like 4 times an A4 sheet for those in North America, 4 times letter size. So big poster, and you get it printed out and put it on your wall, and it acts as a checklist across those 10 different areas of the marketing machine. And this blueprint is something that we work with you and have exercises at masterclass. We're not just talking at you, but giving you, okay, 20 minutes now for this exercise. Here's what you need to think through and decide. 30 minutes for this exercise, 40 minutes for that exercise. And you actually make decisions and get things done. You know, the Latin root for the word decision actually means to cut. And I first heard Anthony Robbins say that. And, you know, it means to cut yourself off from other possibilities. You know, you can't turn left and right at an intersection, at a T intersection. You've got to make a decision. And most of marketing is about making decisions and then committing and following through. But if you stay, oh no, we're happy to work with anyone, you know, anyone who's got a heartbeat, come on in, you'll probably find it difficult when you benchmark the performance of your firm to outperform the median, because your strategy is median. Now, across those different areas of marketing structure, marketing strategy, and marketing support, our whole business is built around those principles. With marketing structure, we have an entry-level platform where it's essentially the first rung of working with us. And we've priced it so that any business, any firm starting out can afford it, because it's only $300 a month. But what it is, it's an interactive implementation platform, gives you that step-by-step process to follow, so you're never in any doubt about where to start or what to do next. And it helps you build out your firm's marketing machine. So it's got the tasks and the very specific practical content of what to do. You check things off as they go. There's also the reports and analytics in there across web, social, keyword ranking. And you're also assigned a member success team member on the Paradox team who reaches out to you proactively with suggestions on, okay, well, I've noticed, here's an example. couple of examples fall both into this category in recent months is we might see, okay, that blog post there is getting 300 visitors a month. That's cool, that one blog post, but it's not converting. You know, there's this concept called bounce rate, which is the opposite of conversion rate. So let's say 99% bounce rate is not uncommon when we first analyze people's websites. So, 99 out of 100 people coming to the blog post leave the website. So we can go, right, okay, let's look at a lead magnet and also a conversion tool to help promote the lead magnet that you can put on that site. And it's not uncommon then to get a conversion rate when the lead magnet relates to the topic of the blog post to have a 20% conversion rate of visitors. So, one firm recently, Pearson Hears out of Brisbane, did that on one blog, was getting over 300, and there's 50 opt-ins a month onto their list from that one blog post. So that's structure. But sometimes people also want that advice. So you get the advice around strategy in the Implementer platform, but this is where the workshops, the masterclasses come in. And we also do one-on-one consulting, our marketing mentor consultations when you need them. But this third part, the marketing support, the done for you, it's a bit of a tautology to say done for you services, but to really make it clear, you need things done for you. You need things on your website done. Blogging, email newsletters, social media content, your search engine optimization. And we've got different service packages where essentially you can have a marketing team, a slice of a marketing team working for your business. And a quick example, I just grabbed this screenshot this morning. Jason McDonald from a firm called White and Black in Brisbane, their website's whiteblack.com.au. There was a thread about one of our strategies, which is called a niche portal strategy, which I can't explain in detail now other than to say it's a leveraged, fast way of generating leads by joint venturing with other businesses. Anyway, so that screenshot there where Jason says, I get on average 1 lead a day from this strategy through my website. So it's 30 leads a month, even 20 if he's only talking Monday to Friday, from one strategy out of what we've taught him. And Jason is punching way above his weight. If you check out his website, we've guided him on all of that with our Paradox preferred partners who are specialist providers in certain areas. And yeah, he's doing really well. And that's what we're all about, is help you get clear on your strategy and generate inbound leads. Now, here come the actions that I want you to take. They're all low gradient, easy to take actions. When people come to us, they're not always ready for our services. If your website is amateur and rubbish, you're not ready. Or you might not even have a website. There might be certain elements where you're just not ready for us to drive more traffic to your website. And that's cool. We then help you become ready for digital marketing. So note down this and feel free to go to this now. Our website, practiceparadox.com.au/ready. And that will go to a survey where you answer 6 questions and you get a score out of 10 about your digital readiness. And if you're not already a member of ours, we can then reach out to you if you want us to and say, okay, would you like us to talk to you about improving your score, getting your strategy and digital presence improved so you can then flow through to the publish, attract, convert, and so on. So that's number 1. Take that quiz. It asks you questions about your social media, your website, your strategy. So that was /ready off our website, practiceparadox.com.au. The blueprint that I showed you earlier, if you go to practiceparadox.com.au/blueprint, you can download that high-res PDF and then take it off to Officeworks or equivalent, email it off to them and they can print it for you. Put it on your wall. If you think, well, I don't know what I put on it yet, don't worry about that because you'll learn over time and it becomes like a visual business plan around, okay, let's note what we need to nail on our strategy. Let's tick off the things that we need to do on presence. And, there's this principle in change management of propinquity, which is all about the proximity of objects and people to each other affects your behavior. So seeing that, putting that on the wall in a place where you walk past it multiple times a day will help you focus on building your marketing machine. And lastly today, on the 20th of May, in a couple of weeks, we are running a preview webinar about our next masterclass. So to register for that webinar, go to practiceparadox.com.au/preview, and that will go to the webinar registration form, and we'll give you a preview of what we're going to cover in the 2-day workshop on the Sunshine Coast in July. And that's, some of those firms that I showed you before have achieved massive breakthroughs. Like growth-wise, I think it's only missed 2 of our masterclasses, and this will be our 11th. So guys, I've gone a minute over time. It's not bad for me. Thank you for joining us today. If you are already a member, today was a recap on our basic methodology around the Marketing Machine 2.0. If you're not yet a member and you're struggling with any aspect of your digital marketing, get in touch with us and come to the next webinar to do with the masterclass preview. And we can step you through our marketing gap analysis process. There's no cost or obligation to that. And we can show you how we can give you the 3 elements of structure, strategy, and support, so that marketing can stop being a mystery to you. And for perhaps the first time in your business's life, you know that when you do this, we get this result. And that is the whole goal of us, is to help you build that marketing machine to generate inbound leads of the types of ideal clients that you want to work with. So thanks for joining me today. I'm just having a look over here to see if I can see any questions. I don't. So I'll hopefully see you on the 20th of May for our masterclass preview webinar. Bye for now.